Um, Today, of course, we are making a few announcements, which you may call as the next step in the series of stimulus announcements that we've been making. But before doing that, I wish to give a picture of the economy as it stands now, and also give you a picture of the various progress that we've made in the Atmanirbhar announcements that we've made over the months. So first, the state of the economy, there is definitely a strong recovery seen that is emerging. Active cases of COVID have declined from 10 lakhs to 4.89 lakhs. And the case fatality rate has also come down. It is at 1.47 as it stands now, 1.47%. If I move over to talking about the economy, you're aware in the last 10-15 days, there have been quite a few measures and steps and indicators which have shown that the recovery is happening and distinctly, clearly happening. The Composite Purchase Managers Index has risen to 58.9 in October, and the previous month it was at 54.6. And therefore, this is the strongest increase that you've seen in output in close to 9 years. So that itself shows it is just not the pent-up demand, but also a strong pitch for recovery. The next is about the energy consumption growth. That's been at a very high level. If you look at year-on-year comparison, it's at 12%, October to October, 19, 20, 20, 21. The GST collections, of course, even as it was announced, you know, had touched 1.05 gross, 1.05 lakh crores, and it's a 10% year-on-year comparison. Daily railway freight tonnage also has grown by 20% year-on-year. And if you were to look at the previous week comparison, we are taking it that it is year-on-year 12% was the figure earlier. Bank credit, which most often we have this little worry that credit flow is slowed, but I would like to say here, bank credit year-on-year growth improved by 5.1% as of 23rd October 2020. Of course, markets, you're watching, markets are at record high. Record market capitalization is happening. Net investments, FPIs, is positive. And the reserves like never before of foreign exchange is at $560 billion US. Now, you also know that the RBI has now announced that it will come out with a monthly report of how the economy is moving. And the first of such series of monthly reports, it used to give us reports even earlier, but now looking at the economy, they are giving us this monthly report, which predicts a strong return to proper growth of the Indian economy, to positive growth. And in Q3 itself, there could be a strong growth, which will bring into the positive terrain. And the expectation earlier was that it will be probably in the fourth quarter that we will reach that kind of a number, but RBI predicts probably that will happen even in the Q3. You also seen that several prominent economists have been writing as to what is the nature of this rebound, and it is just not due to pent-up demand. It's a sustainable, strong economic growth that which is being read by many economists who have been writing and also noticing that this growth is also getting energized by the unrelenting reform pitch with which a lot of strong steps towards systemic reforms are being taken by the government. So this is the strong recovery picture which I'd like to put before you. And like the earlier announcements, I'll do it in English and Anuragji would do it in Hindi. Before I go in for the Hindi, it's also important for us, and I'm sure many of you all have noticed, that Moody's today have come out with the numbers for Indian economy, saying that earlier they were talking about 9.6 negative growth for India, which they have now reassessed and said that it won't probably be at 9.6 negative, it might probably just be 8.9 negative. Whereas for 2022, they had come with a very clear indication that India will be growing at 8.1% earlier, but now they've corrected themselves and said probably India will be growing not at 8.1, but at 8.6. So even these kind of assessments which are being made by agencies are indicating that there is a correction which is happening in a positive direction for India. I now go to telling you about on some selected announcements made during Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, the progress, so that you know that there is a continuity with which we are coming up with the announcements. And I call them under Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan 1.0 and Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan 2.0. Now, under 1.0, there are 3 slides with which I explain the progress in some of the items. What are those some? Why should it be only some? Some which have a direct bearing on the poor, the farmers, and so on, are the ones I'm giving you progress on. On the others, we are well ready to give the progress, but probably I didn't want to take more of the time here. We will share it with you. So, under Atmanirbhar Abhiyan, Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan 1.0, some of the announcements which were made are seeing very good progress. And the first one I take there is about the One Nation, One Ration card, in which interstate portability has been achieved in 28 states and union territories. They are all under the national portability of ration cards now, and from 1st September, they are actually effectively on in terms of giving interstate portability. And how many people does it cover? 68.6 crore beneficiaries are now opting for lifting their food grains from any of the FPS stores of their choice in any of the 28 states or union territories. Intra-state portability, that is within a state portability, is also enabled in those 28 states and union territories, and 1.5 crore monthly transactions are happening in them. This is very important, and this was one of the very progressive steps that we took towards the poor being ensured of food security. If you go to the next one, which is the PM Street Vendors Atmanirbhar Nidhi, which is the PM Swanidhi, you have 26.62 lakh loan applications which have been received, of which 13.78 lakh loans totaling 1,373 crores which have been sanctioned in 30 states and 6 union territories. So the coverage of the PM Swanidhi for the street vendors is now there in 30 states, and that is the number of people who have already got covered. And applications which are otherwise there will all be attended to at the earliest. I remember talking before you all about migrant workers and also the way in which the union government is responding to make sure that they are given some kind of a facilitation. However, the portal which was going to have been made for recording the movements of migrants from where to where and so on, the work was commenced on starting a portal. Labour Ministry together with the Finance Ministry and other concerned ministries are working together closely with the states, and the work has commenced for creating a portal on migrant workers. I move to the next. Again, progress in some key items under the Atmanirbhar 1.0 announcements. At that time, we had made announcements linked to the Kisan credit cards. Credit boost has been achieved to 2.5 crore farmers through the KCC, 183 lakh applications were received, slightly over that, and banks have issued that 157 lakh KCC, Kisan Credit Cards, to the eligible farmers, and the total amount sanctioned is also given there, 1,43,262 crores were distributed in 2 phases. So that progress ensured that the farmers got the Kisan credit cards, and also the eligible farmers who received the Kisan credit cards received that money amount as sanctioned credit for those farmers. So farmers were covered through the Kisan credit card and through the credit through the Kisan credit card for the immediate agricultural activity-based requirements. Similarly, we announced a Matsya Sampada Yojana, and in that 21 states have sent the proposals. They've also received the money and sanctioned 1,681 crores for the fishermen who were to be covered under Matsya Sampada Yojana. A third item which I would want to put here is also for the farmers. At that time, we were still talking about the Kharif crop and also harvest of Kharif. We were somewhere between. But in anticipation of the Rabi, we said we will give over and above the BE 25,000 crores, which will be distributed to the farmers so that their preparation for Rabi, preparation for sowing for Rabi will all be facilitated. I'm happy to say 25,000 crores have been distributed of that additional amount over and above the BE through the NABARD for that purpose. I now move to the third slide, showing the progress of some of the key areas which relate to the Atmanirbhar Bharat package of 1.0. That is the first stage announcement of the Atmanirbhar. I move to the third slide, where the emergency credit liquidity guarantee scheme which was announced, which came to be identified with just the MSMEs, which did not just help the MSMEs, but also help professionals and others. Total amount sanctioned, it was a 3 lakh crore ECGLS, ECLGS, in which 2.05 lakh crores have been sanctioned to about 61 lakh borrowers, who included MSMEs, professionals, and many others who were just not MSMEs, they could be others also, of which 1.52 lakh crores have been disbursed. So that is on the ECLGS. We also had announced at that time partial credit guarantee scheme through the public sector banks. They have bought portfolios worth 26,889 crores. Again, that also infused liquidity. There was a third scheme called the special liquidity schemes, which were primarily for the NBFCs and the housing finance corporations, the smaller ones. 7,227 crores have been disbursed to the NBFCs and the HFCs. And the last item here relates to how much of liquidity has been infused into the DISCOMs. 17 states have received a sanction of 118.273 crores. Am I right in saying that? 1,18,273 crores worth of loans have been sanctioned to about 17 states, of which 11 states have received disbursed amounts. Amounts have been released to them to the extent of 31,136 crores. So this is just very quickly to give you the progress of what happened was what had been announced as Atmanirbhar Package 1, and on that some selected items for which progress is shown here, but progress is happening in each one of the announcements which were made, which will be separately given to you rather than taking more time. We are only till now talking about what was announced, what progress is being made. I'll quickly also say about Atmanirbhar 2.0, about which there'll just be one slide for you all to know if the progress is being made. Post that, I'll go for today's announcements. I move to Atmanirbhar Bharat 2.0, just one slide to show you the progress there. We had made these announcements on 12th of October, largely talking about the festival advance, which was going to be given as a actual breakaway from the recommendations of the Pay Commission. We brought back the festival advance just this one time so that people get money in their hands to spend. SBI is issuing what is called the Utsav cards, through which festival advance is being given. Good progress is being made there. LTC voucher scheme was also launched for the central government, and many of these employees who are unable to travel because of the given conditions were given the option, instead of traveling, they could spend that money in buying some things, and in that also we are seeing a lot of progress. Other than that, Atmanirbhar Bharat 2.0 package also spoke about 25,000 crores in addition being provided over and above the BE for capital expenditure, primarily aiming at Ministry of Road Transport and also Ministry of Defense. That is also being well received by both the ministries, and they are taking a lot of steps forward. And the last one which I'll refer here is 11 states have been sanctioned 3,621 crores as interest-free loans towards capital expenditure. You'll remember that we had announced this. 11 states have already taken 3,621 crores. Just 1 minute here. I want to give an additional input that this 3,621 crores is not inclusive of what Bihar proposes to do, because Bihar was going through the election code of conduct and other things. They had not said. You may add another about 450 crores to that amount, which will be spent by Bihar for its own capital expenditure. Over and above this, which I think we have not mentioned here, which is only right that we have not mentioned it here, is income tax refunds, which even then I did say, and even now I'm saying, that is people's own money, taxpayers' own money. But why am I including it saying here? Refunds have gone in a big way to the people, because in time, if they get the money, the refund, it will help them. 1,32,800 crores have gone as refunds to nearly 39.7 lakh assessees. It's their money. I'm not making a claim to that. But refund, instead of sitting with us for whatever reason, which is not right, without any delay, has been given to the tax assessees in time. 1,32,800 crores. I now move to today's announcements. There are 12 different things that we want to announce. You may want to refer to it as Atmanirbhar 3.0. I first start with the first announcement, which is Atmanirbhar Bharat Rozgar Yojana. I have 3 slides on it. This Prime Minister Rozgar Protsahan Yojana is something which all of you all already know. It exists. It was implemented up to 31/3/2019. It had covered all sectors, beginning textiles, and then it is expected to run 3 years. It is running for 3 years. So even if somebody joined the scheme on 31/3/2019, they would be covered under that existing scheme for another, from then 3 years. It is still active. Up to today, there's about 8,300 crores which have been disbursed to the beneficiaries, and there are about 1,52,899 establishments which are covering that many number of 1,21,69,000 odd beneficiaries under the PM Rozgar Protsahan Yojana, which is an existing Yojana. The new scheme, which we are now calling as Atmanirbhar Bharat Rozgar Yojana, is being launched so that we incentivize creation of new employment opportunities so that the recovery phase benefits from it. What does this mean? It means that every EPFO registered establishment, those registered establishment, if they take new employees who never were covered by EPFO earlier, if they take them on, or if they bring in employees who had lost their jobs between 1st March 2020 and 30th September 2020, even they will be counted as new employees, although they may have an EPFO number earlier. Both will benefit from this. I'll go back to saying, go to the next slide, but not now. Next slide. If I do, when I move over to that, I'll explain as to what kind of benefit will be given. But EPFO registered organizations, if they bring in new employees, new employee being those who didn't have an EPFO number earlier, or new employee being those who lost the job between 1st March and 30th September of this year, will all be counted as new employee who join or who get recruited by EPFO registered organization. They will get some benefits. The benefits I'll explain in a minute, but this is the new scheme which we are launching now. This will be effective from 1st October 2020. So EPFO registered organizations which recruit new employees from 1st October will be covered. They will be covered for the next 2 years. The earlier scheme covered for 3 years. Now it will cover for 2 years. So on this, just a bit of clarity. We go over to the second slide on this first announcement. These are establishments which are registered under the EPFO. They add new employees, and the employees will have to be at least 2 minimum if the reference base for the establishment is 50 employees or less, and minimum 5 employees, 5 new employees if the reference base for those establishment is more than 50 employees. Now, these will have to happen between 1st October 2020 and it will be operational only till 30th June 2021, meaning these establishments, if they recruit people from 1st October 2020 until 30th June 2021, they will be covered under the scheme. And when I said covered, they will be covered for the next 2 years. How they will be covered, I'll cover in the next slide. But this is the criteria which is before us. So we now move to talking about what exactly is the benefit which they are going to get. Central government will give the subsidy for 2 years in respect of the new eligible employees who are engaged on or after 1/10/2020 till, as I said, June of 2021. For those establishments which have up to 1,000 employees or less, employees' contribution of 12% of the wages and employers' contribution of 12% of the wages, totaling 24% of the wages, will be borne by the central government. Now, when we are talking of employees, here we are talking of employees who have 15,000 or less as wages, not for all employees. Similarly, for those establishments which have more than 1,000 employees, only the employees' EPF contribution, which is 12%, will be 12% of the EPF wages will be borne by the union government. This subsidy support to get credited upfront in Aadhaar seeded EPFO accounts of eligible new employee. That's the only condition. We want it to be Aadhaar seeded. So that is the actual benefit that establishments will get if they create new jobs. The one factoid which I like to give about this is that those companies or establishments which are employing up to 1,000 people, 1,000 or less, probably will be 95% or slightly over 95% of all establishments which will get covered under this. And also, a rough estimate, subject to correction, a rough estimate is 65% of all those who are in the formal sector will be covered by this fact that this 12% and 12% will be borne by the Government of India. 65% of all employees will get. The emergency credit line guarantee scheme, which was announced in the Atmanirbhar 1.0, gets extended till 31st March 2021. You probably also were informed that from October, it was extended till 30th November. Debashish is here, he can correct me. From October to, it was extended by 1 month to reach 30th November as the deadline for the ECLGS scheme. But now we are extending it up to 31st March 2021. The details of the scheme is very well known to you, but I'll repeat. It is fully guaranteed loan, it is collateral-free loan, and it gives additional credit of 20% of your outstanding loans. And outstanding loans will be decided based on your balance as of 29th February 2020. And outstanding credit limit was about 50 crores. So all this taken on board, we also then extended it for annual turnover up to 250 crores. Earlier we covered only 50 crores, then we moved over to 250. Earlier we covered only MSMEs. Then during the tenure of it, we extended it to even business enterprises and also for individual professionals. Mudra loans, all of them got covered. We kept expanding the scope of the ECGLS. I'm happy to report that as of 12th November, today, 2.05 lakh crores have been sanctioned to 61 lakh borrowers, and of which 1.52 lakh crores have already been disbursed into the accounts of those borrowers. So that is where this is, the first announcement is that this gets extended till 31st March 2021. I come to the next announcement, which is, I'm linking it with the extension of date of the ECLGS. This is, we are launching a credit guarantee support for all the stressed sectors. This was part of what was recognized by the Kamath Committee, which looked at the various sectors which are stressed as a result of the pandemic. So 26 stressed sectors were identified, and for those in that sector, plus the health sector, with credit outstanding of about 50 crores and up to 500 crores as on 29th February 2020, this scheme will be extended. And what it does is, it doesn't have an upper ceiling or on annual turnover basis. Entities up to 30 days past due, which is estimate 0, as on 29/2/2020, will get an additional credit of 20% of outstanding as of that date. So this one, unlike the earlier, which got extended now, which will be current and which will run, even as it goes on, we are bringing this one as an additional scheme, wherein the tenor of the additional credit which is being given will be 5 years, which means 1 year of moratorium and 4 years of repayment and servicing. The earlier scheme, which was which has got extended now, had 1 plus 3 years, which is 1 year of moratorium and 3 years of services. Now this is 1 year of moratorium and 4 years of repayment. This scheme will be available like the earlier scheme which got extended up to 31st March 2021. So this will also benefit MSME sectors, and it can include also MSME sectors which provide goods and services to eligible entities. We move over to the third announcement, which is something partly heard even yesterday, the production-linked incentive scheme, which champions 10 sectors, and in those sectors, incentive will be offered. But very quickly for you to recall, there was a PLI announced earlier during the early stages of lockdown, and in that 51,355 crores have been earmarked for 3 sectors. This is now 10 sectors, but earlier it was 3 sectors, of which the mobile manufacturing and some specified electronic components received 40,995 crores. Then the key starting materials, which is for the pharmaceutical and the APIs at the cost of 6,940 crores, and the manufacturing of medical devices at 3,420 crores was the first announcement of the earlier PLI, which covered 3 sectors. Now the new one, which you got to know yesterday after the cabinet approved it, covers 10 such sectors, 10 more such sectors, 3 already being given. Now they will also benefit from a productivity linked incentive scheme. Yesterday when I met you all, I had very clearly said that's part of the Atmanirbhar. It covers sunrise sectors, it covers labor-intensive sectors, and it also covers those sectors through which India hopes to link with the global value chain, and therefore very outward-looking, very supportive, encouraging of exports, and bringing investment and manufacturing to India. So 10 new sectors are being added. This will, I hope, get a big boost for the Indian economy, and domestic employment also will increase because of that. The next slide will show you those 10 sectors, which I think even yesterday was shared with you. It totals to 1,45,980 crores, which will be the earmarked amount for the next 5 years, Somnathan, for next 5 years. And you can see the spread of the sectors which we are talking about. I don't need to go into greater details on it, but the figures are there before you, and it will also be shared with you. We go to the 4th announcement, which pertains to PM Awas Yojana Urban, where a lot of measures have been taken in the past several months for the revival of housing and real estate sector. And these measures have all contributed to a good recovery. Today, many of you all have covered in your own respective newspapers and the media which you talk about, in which you're talking about how the real estate is seeing a good lot of movement. And I'm glad to say that different schemes which were launched are receiving good traction. There was this, since the early part of this year, there was this worry that a lot of over and above the budget estimate which was mentioned in the 2020-21 budget under the PM Awas Yojana, particularly for the urban areas, and this extra budgetary resource being provided will help 12 lakh houses to be grounded. Those which have been getting constructed will get grounded, and 18 lakh houses will get completed as a result. So 8,000 crores will be provided even in this year. 8,000 crore, this is over and above the 8,000 crores which was mentioned in the BE, which is 8,000 crores. We are now giving 18,000 crores in order that 12 lakh houses can be grounded and 18 lakh houses can be completed. What we expect out of it is additional jobs to the extent of 78 lakhs will be created. 25 lakh metric tons of steel will now be bought and sold, and 131 lakh metric tons of cement will be bought and sold. Now, therefore, these are core sector which will be improving on their production and sale, which obviously will have a great multiplier effect on the economy. We move to the 5th announcement of today. This is more to bring in ease of doing business, at the same time give relief to the contractors whose money otherwise gets locked up, and therefore and also it will have a bearing on the cost of bank guarantees. So I think this is a very important step towards enabling people who come into the construction and infrastructure activity. This will support them. Performance security on contracts will now be reduced to 3% instead of 5 to 10%. Will be extended. This will be extended to all ongoing contracts which are free of disputes. This will also be extended to the public sector enterprises. States also will be encouraged to come into this scheme. Therefore, bid security declaration will be sufficient, and that will replace the existing EMD. So earnest money deposit will not be required for tenders, and it will be sufficient if they provide bid security declaration. So it's almost like a self-declaration. A declaration is going to replace the EMDs. Relaxation of this kind, which we are proposing now, will be given only up to 31st December 2021, which means one full year beginning now, 31/12/2021. Till then, this is being given. Necessary changes in the general financial rules will be made so that this burden on the contractors will be reduced, and there will be a greater flexibility for them to get into construction and infrastructure, because infrastructure is something which we are prioritizing. And we need them to come in with greater ease. If they didn't have enough cash to provide all those costs for the bank guarantees, they shouldn't be hesitating. So we remove that. I go to the sixth announcement, which is an income tax relief that we like to give for developers and home buyers. There's quite a lot of inventory is what we are told in the real estate sector. So at the moment, what is prevailing is the differential between circle rate and the agreement value. About 10%. Prices may be lower than that, but up to 10% you get relief. Now what we've decided is to increase the differential from 10% to 20% from the period, for the period from the date of this announcement to 30th June 2021 for only primary sales. So the first sale. This relief of up to 20% shall be allowed for both, and the necessary amendments in the IT Acts will be done in the due course, through this particular step, we expect a lot of clearance of inventory, and people will be able to pay less in terms of the differential on which the tax is collected, and the differential is now increased, the gap is now reduced, and therefore they will end up paying far lesser in case of the circle rate differential, which affects them. So this is a major step towards middle class, which wants to buy when the housing sector is going through a supply side boom, inventories are sitting, nothing is getting cleared, but people don't have any incentive to go buy it. Now we provide incentive in the form of an income tax relief. We go to the seventh announcement, which is infusion of equity to the extent of 6,000 crores to the NIIF debt platform. You are aware that NIIF in this country attracts a lot of sovereign fund for investment in infrastructure related activities. Now it also has a debt platform through which it raises a lot of money, and by 2025 it has to provide an infra funding to the extent of 1,10,000 crores, which we have announced, National Infrastructure Pipeline. Now we are also giving them fund to be able to, we are giving equity, it will also have private participation. NIIF itself is investing some amount so that there is a debt platform through which it can raise money for funding infrastructure. So we are now giving 6,000 crores of equity to the debt platform of NIIF, where private equity participation will also come in. NIIF itself has invested 2,000 crores. So by 2025, they will have to fund projects to the extent of 1,10,000 crores. We are creating this avenue for them to do it even through the debt market. We move to the eighth announcement today, and that is providing 65,000 crores for fertilizer in the form of subsidy for the farmers. 65,000 crores subsidy for fertilizers, which will benefit farmers. Now, what is important to notice here is from somewhere near 500 lakh metric tons, which was fertilizer consumption in this country between 2016-17, we expect in 2020-2021, it will increase to the extent of 673 lakh metric tons. So farmers are reaping the benefit of a favorable monsoon. The sown area, so the growing area of crops has extended, increased manifold. As a result, farmers are to be ensured adequate supply of fertilizers, and this increased supply of fertilizers we assess will benefit 140 million farmers, and therefore 65,000 crores is being given to ensure that the forthcoming Kharif will not suffer for want of fertilizer. Farmers should be ensured that they have done a splendid work during Kharif. Now forthcoming Rabi and after that the Kharif after that should be somewhere farmers should be ensured adequate supply of fertilizer is given. 65,000 crores for it. I move to the 9th announcement. We spoke about formal employment. Now we are also talking about informal. You may recall that during the Garib Kalyan Rozgar Yojana, during the lockdown that we announced, 116 districts were brought together where the migrant laborers had gone back. 25,000 was the minimum number of migrant laborers who had reached those districts, for whom money was spent, and 37,543 crores have been spent till date on that. That scheme ended as of October 31st, if you remember correct. That was only for a limited number of days. We have spent that kind of money in those 116 districts. Now, this Garib Kalyan Rozgar Yojana had brought together the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme and also the Garib Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. Both of them were also brought together so that rural employment can be encouraged. You remember that in the budget, we had announced something like 61,000 crores for Manrega. We also gave a 40,000 crore in addition during the Atmanirbhar Bharat 1.0 announcement. So with that announcement of 40,000 crore, Manrega had crossed 1 lakh crore outlay. Now what we are saying is also to underline the fact that out of that 1 lakh crore, 61,000 during the BE, 40,000 during Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan 1.0, both put together over 1 lakh. Of that, 73,504 crores have already been spent, and 251 crore person days of employment were generated. 251 crore person days of employment was generated, and this is in the informal sector. Obviously, people getting covered there are informal workers. Now we announce, this 9th announcement is for another additional outlay of 10,000 crore. This will be part of the PM Garib Kalyan Rozgar Yojana. It can be used for Manrega, it can be used for Gram Sadak Yojana to ensure that the rural informal sector doesn't suffer for opportunities. So this money goes there. This will accelerate the rural economy. I go to the 10th, just 2 more after that, 12 announcements. So 10th one, we will boost exports. And this is done through the additional 3,000 crores which we want to give the Exim Bank for promoting exports which happen through the lines of credit. What are these lines of credit? These are normally used by countries to which India extends this facility under the IDEA scheme, which is normally monitored through the Ministry of External Affairs. Now, when exports are mandated through it, most of the recipient countries, when they build something or when they use this money for various activities that they do. They could be getting Indian products, whether they are projects for railways being done somewhere, power projects being built somewhere. India helps them by providing goods from India. So railway projects, power, transmission lines, roads, or anything to do with transport, auto components, even sugar projects, all of them are supported. There are about 811 export contracts which are undergoing through the IDS scheme, and 10.5 billion US dollars are provided through the line of credit. Now, in order to facilitate Exim Bank undertake these line of credit activities and for promoting projects export, which happens, many of the Indian companies go and complete these projects there. They undertake a railway project or a power project. Many Indian companies go to do that, for which products from India are exported for those. Exim Bank facilitates this. So Exim Bank gets 3,000 crores just for this activity under LOC, line of credit. The next one, the 11th announcement for today, is keeping in line with the government's belief that public expenditure for infrastructure is important at this kind of a time when demand boost has to be given. 10,200 crores additionally is being provided so that capital and industrial expenditure can be undertaken. These will be primarily through the defense equipment. Domestic defense equipment manufacturers will benefit from it. Industrial incentives, industrial infrastructure, and green energy. For these purposes, 10,200 crores are being additionally provided. You may recall that during Atmanirbhar package, 25,000 crore was given over and above the budgetary capital allocation which was made. In the BE, I think broadly about 4 lakh crores were given. Now, with the Atmanirbhar package announcement, we gave 25,000. Now an additional 10,200 crore of budgetary outlays being made, over and above the budget provisions, in order that the capital and industrial stimulus is given a proper priority. This will, of course, benefit those particular sectors because domestic defense equipment manufacturers are doing well. There's a need for them to be given that kind of a support so that those equipment and industrial infrastructure gets built. We move to the last, which is the 12th announcement for today. We provide not a very big sum, you may think, but 900 crores for research and development as regards the COVID vaccine development which is happening. And this is being provided for the COVID Suraksha mission, purely for R&D purposes. And please notice that this money goes to the Department of Biotechnology, not health. It goes to the Department of Biotechnology for research purposes. Now, automatically, the question arises, is this what is being provided for COVID vaccine? No, this is for provision towards research activity related to the vaccine. The actual cost of the vaccine or the logistics for the vaccine to be distributed to the country is a totally different matter. We are not talking about that here. The actual cost of the vaccine or the logistics required for distributing the vaccine is totally different, and whatever is required for that, as and when it is required, will be provided. But this is totally a different purpose, and this is for research towards the vaccine development, which goes for the Department of Biotechnology. So that's my last announcement for today. Of course, after the Hindi, there's the one other slide which will tell you about the fiscal distribution table. So we now go to the much looked up to kind of a table. What is the money? You have it there before you. The 1,45,908 was something which partly got announced yesterday, but that is also because yesterday the cabinet had decided, so we wanted to announce it immediately. But the figures are here. 2,65,080 crores. Okay, can we move to the next? The first announcement of PM Garib Kalyan package, 192,800, 1,92,800. Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan 1.0, 11,02,650. PM Garib Kalyan Protsahan Anna Yojana, extension of 5 months from July to November, 82,911, although the scheme ran from March itself. Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan 2.0, which was announced 1 month ago, 73,000. So this package, Atmanirbhar Abhiyan 3.0, 2,65,080. 1, 2, 3, 4 total is there. RBI measures which were announced as of 31st October, you have 12,71,000 something. Totally 29,87,641 crores. Now, for those of you all who very quickly would want to say, so what did you do? How much did RBI do? I just give you a quick back of the envelope calculation. You may go back, do your homework, and come back to cross-question us. You're welcome. Total of 15% of the GDP is what has been given here as stimulus till today. Total of 15% of the GDP. You may divide that between the government and the RBI, never mind. Just the government, 9% of the GDP. With that, I conclude. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. 26, we take the question.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Shishir from Hindu Business Line. Yeah, good afternoon, ma'am. Shishir here from Hindu Business Line. Yes. Yeah, ma'am, about emergency credit guarantee scheme that has been extended till March 31st. So will the limit of 3 lakh crore bill also be extended? Second thing, the second part of this scheme where you have said that 50 crore to 500 crore, what will be the condition? Will that be included in 3 lakh crore or will there be a separate limit for that? And what will be the rate of interest for 9.25 as you announced earlier, or will there be any change?
As Madam has just announced and gave the progress of the ECGLS, so we have already utilized 2 lakh crores out of the 3 lakh crores. And basically this money went to the smaller units and the individual businesses. So that kind of segment was covered. Now we have almost a headroom of 1 lakh crore. So the 26 stress sectors which have been identified by the Kamath committee is the one who are actually needing the money. So with this, diverting or, getting them also into the fold will help a large number of these sectors to get the working capital term loan that may require. And we have capped it at 500 crores and health sector is also included, so 20% of that. So as of now, we feel that this should be adequate to cover whatever we are targeting, but as we go along, we will assess and then come back. Thank you.
102.
Beg your pardon?
Rate of interest.
Rate of interest, everything conditions remains the same excepting for the conditions that Madam mentioned, that the moratorium and the tenor of the loan goes from 4 to 5 years. And there's also one difference that we have aligned the stress sectors with the Kamath committee recommendation, which is, only the SMA 0 gets covered or the standard accounts who are paid on, as on 29th of February, whereas for the smaller units, that is MSMEs, we had allowed SMA 0 and SMA 1, which is 60 days past due.
Ma'am, Sapna Das here from CNBC TV 18. Ma'am, 2 quick questions. The 65,000
I think
crore.
one question, restrict to one question.
Yeah, okay, combined. Sorry. 65,000 crores for fertilizer is, ma'am, additional or it's part of this year's outlay?
You may want to repeat your question, it's getting a bit muffled.
For 65,000 crore allocation for fertilizer is additional or part of this? And ma'am, one broader question. You spoke about the Moody's reassessment of growth numbers for this year as well as the next financial year. Of course, FY22 they have given a a kind of a lower number. But what's the kind of estimate that we are working on as of now? What would be your reassessment of the Indian economy outlook?
Can we focus on the stimulus announcement today?
And are we out of the woods yet or still some distance to go?
Hasn't my first slide explained it all?
It's everything.
So I think I've
Thank you.
answered your question on that, and that particular first question that you asked, yes, it is additional.
Number 6.
I'm Timsi Jaipuria, this side from CNBC TV 18. When we talk of the overall sentiment that cases are reducing, which is actually leading to a positive sentiment in the economy, what is your assessment from this particular stimulus package? What sort of an investment boost are you looking at? Because PLI will take some time and some of the measures are immediate. And what sort of a sentiment do you see in the economy for the remaining part of the fiscal? Because as we predictable.
Timsi, one thing about the PLI, every time we announce it, we are conscious that it is going to take time. It's not immediate, we think. But I would want to say it is actually immediate. Look at the way the PLI first announcement for the 3 sectors which was made, and look at the response it has received. As a result of which, stakeholders in the other sectors felt that if they also had a PLI given to them, their sector will also get, a lot more robust. And the kind of investment which is coming into this country based on the PLI announcement for the mobile telephone operation and manufacturing. So PLI is a scheme which will run for long, medium term, but it has immediate impact on decision making for investment. Considering that in this country we've also, I have the finance secretary sitting next to me, who took the first major milestone decision of reducing the corporate tax. That together with the PLI has actually rushed in a lot of investment into this country for those sectors which were 3 in number. Now we expect the same response for these 10.
33. I think there are a large number of questions. from
We are
the side
doing
here.
everything to improve the sentiment. You should tell me what is the sentiment you're getting in the ground.
Okay. They
Yes.
will
Good
respond to
afternoon,
answers.
ma'am.
Yeah,
This
33.
is Mukesh Kaushik from Dainik Bhaskar. You just informed us that rupees 25,000 crore were provided to as additional capital expenditure to Ministry of Transport and Ministry of Defense. Can you tell us what portion out of it is being provided to Ministry of Defense? And was it necessitated because of the current standoff going on at LAC? And can you give us an estimated amount of subsidy which would be given on account of EPFO contribution in category of 24% and 12%?
Let me first clear the first question that you had in your mind. Giving that kind of money for the defense, particularly for production, domestic defense production, has been on its own steam growing substantially in the last 5-6 years. A lot of Indian companies are producing world-class defense equipment. Today we want that sector to be able to grow and export. So the amount declared there, 45,000 crores which you're referring to, was given with an intention that that defense production sector can grow and make India a manufacturing hub for defense equipments. That is the overriding reason. And the breakdown between defense and any other sector, I think gradually we'll share it. Do you have something? No, you can always.
As regards the 25,000 that was announced 1 month ago, 10,000 was for the Ministry of Road Transport and 15,000 was for defense capital. And defense capital is for long-term purposes. The money is released this year for the purchase of defense equipment. It has no direct relationship with the situation on the border.
16.
Manufactured in India.
Manufactured in India, yeah.
16. Yeah.
That is given in the table. You can see the figure of 4,500 crores, which is in the table that was shown here.
Ma'am, I come back to the question about in terms of the announcement that you have made. This is the third package. Your secretary expenditures there, you have been working on the fiscal deficit. You're not going to be able to meet this target this year. How much is it going to be go above? And second, most important, this money that you're borrowing from the market, where is it coming from? If you could kindly help us, because most people are concerned about in terms of how much will you breach the fiscal deficit?
We are working on it. I'm sure sooner you'll get to know what is the kind of fiscal deficit number that we are wanting to give you after our calculations are worked out. And as regards where this money is coming from, Tarun had released a borrowing calendar, an amended borrowing calendar, so obviously we'll meet it out with that.
55.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Ma'am, after you have announced the third Atmanirbhar package, in the budget we had estimated total spending of about 30 lakh crores for this year. Will the total spending now go up by that measure, or there is still some time before we get that calculation going?
Isn't the total spending going up already? You are seeing through the various announcements. It is going up.
13.
Ma'am, this is Ruchi Bhatia from ET now. We have been hearing a lot in terms of the vaccine development as well. Pfizer, a day before yesterday, said that their vaccine candidate is about 90% effective. At a time like this, how is Finance Ministry looking at the vaccine developments, the news that we're hearing across the world? And besides that, the ECB chief yesterday also said that in light of the good news that we're hearing from in terms of the vaccine, the stimulus support will have to continue. Just want to understand how is Finance Ministry looking at the developments that we're seeing and the stimulus trajectory from
No,
here?
I suppose all India is waiting for a good vaccine to come, effective vaccine to come, one or many more effective vaccines to come. And as I said, we are also spending money on R&D for vaccine, aside from what we'll give when the vaccine is ready for us to buy and when the vaccine is ready to be distributed. So the vaccine activity is going on its own steam, for which Government of India is trying to keep abreast of the developments. But aside from that, we are still working on the stimulus, because the pandemic and its impact on the economy is something which all of us are assessing, talking to people, and where inputs are necessary, we are giving that. So both activities are going on.
157.
ये जो आपने पहली वाली जो नंबर 1 पर थी आत्मनिर्भर भारत रोजगार योजना, इस पर सरकार को कितना खर्च करने का अनुमान है?
I think all these details have been given in the tables. All these details are given in the table. Please refer to those. 14.
मंत्री जी, हमारा सवाल आपसे है कि आपने कहा कि 26.4 जो है वेंडर्स की एप्लीकेशन आई, तो उसमें आपने अभी तक जो लोन सेंक्शन किए हैं वो 13 पॉइंट समथिंग है, यानी सिर्फ 50%. तो आखिर क्या वजह है कि इन लोगों को लोन वेंडर्स स्कीम में कम सेंक्शन हो रहे हैं?
You want to say something?
देखिए, ये जो अर्बन लोकल बॉडीज़ है, 103 शहर में ये योजना को प्रथम चरण में चालू किया गया है. तो अर्बन लोकल बॉडीज से जो रजिस्टर्ड है स्ट्रीट वेंडर्स, वो इसके पात्र हैं. अन्यथा अर्बन लोकल बॉडीज उनको कोई सर्टिफिकेट, एक लेटर ऑफ रिकमेंडेशन दे, वो भी पात्र बन सकते हैं. तो एप्लीकेशंस जैसे जैसे आ रही है, उसमें एक पोर्टल बनी है, पीएम स्वनिधि पोर्टल, और उसमें लोड हो रहा है. फिर जो बोरोवर है, यानी जो स्ट्रीट वेंडर है, वो अगर किसी बैंक को प्रेफरेंस दिखाता है, वो बैंक में पहुंचता है. अगर उसने बैंक का प्रेफरेंस नहीं दिया तो वो एक मार्केट प्लेस में एप्लीकेशंस रहता है, फिर बैंक्स उसको उठाते हैं. इस योजना का खासियत यह है कि इसमें 7% का इंटरेस्ट सबवेंशन है और एक क्रेडिट गारंटी भी है. तो आप समझ लीजिए, पिछले 2-2.5 महीने में लगभग इतने एप्लीकेशन स्वीकृत हो गए, और जैसे मैडम ने बताया 14 लाख एप्लीकेशंस सैंक्शन हो गए हैं, और लगभग 7.5 लाख एप्लीकेशंस का वितरण भी हो चुका है. थोड़ा टाइम इसलिए लग रहा है कि उनको डिजिटल ऑनबोर्डिंग भी किया जा रहा है, वो एक उसका एक और अंश है स्कीम के तहत. और उनको अगर वो डिजिटल ट्रांजैक्शन करते हैं तो उनको कैशबैक भी मिलता है. तो स्ट्रीट वेंडर भी आने में, क्योंकि वो अपने कारोबार में लगा हुआ है, तो उनको आने में थोड़ा कठिनाई हो रही है, तो अर्बन लोकल बॉडीज और जिला प्रशासन से बराबर मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ हाउसिंग अफेयर्स और डीएफएस मिलके वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंस करके उनको यही जोर दे रहे हैं कि उनको लाया जाए। शनिवार रविवार को भी कैंप लगा के उसका वितरण की जा रही है। धन्यवाद।
61.
मैं आलोक प्रियदर्शी, सीएनबीसी आवाज से। जब से लॉकडाउन लगा तब से एक सेक्टर के लिए लगातार कहा जा रहा है कि सबसे ज़्यादा अफेक्टेड हुआ वो था एविएशन, होटल इंडस्ट्री और टूरिज्म सेक्टर। उसके लिए अभी तक अगर देखा जाए तो स्पेसिफिक कुछ भी अनाउंसमेंट नहीं है। क्या आने वाले दिनों में कोई और अनाउंसमेंट आ सकती है या ये आखिरी अनाउंसमेंट माना जाए?
नहीं, ये स्ट्रेस सेक्टर क्या है, उसमें ज़रूर वो भी कवर हो जाएंगे ना। जैसे आप भी मान रहे हैं, कामत कमेटी भी माने कि ये स्ट्रेस्ड सेक्टर सबको 26 उन्होंने लिस्ट किया, हमने उसके साथ हेल्थ का भी जोड़ा है, सो उनको इसमें कवर हो जाएंगे।
15.
मैम, मैं मोनिका जी मीडिया से। मैम, मेरा सवाल है कि इस पैकेज की घोषणा के बाद क्या अभी और कैपिटल डालने की ज़रूरत पड़ेगी सरकारी बैंकों में? हालांकि आपने 20,000 करोड़ रुपए का ऑलरेडी प्रोविजन किया है, और ये कब तक डाली जाएगी?
मैं आज फोकस करती हूँ स्टिमुलस के ऊपर।
43.
This question is either for Madam Minister or the Expenditure Secretary. So just to confirm, your budgeted estimates and fertilizer subsidies for this year was 71,000 odd crores and some change. So on the basis of good monsoon and extra area sown, you are changing that to 1.36 lakh crore, like 71 plus 65.
Yes.
In light of this and other additional expenditure, are we expecting additional borrowing announcement in, say, December or something?
Wasn't rural India doing well? Isn't your Rabi crop also being speculated that it will be good? Isn't farmers' demand for fertilizer something which this government from 2014 ensured that there are no riots on the street with farmers coming and standing in long queues for fertilizer? We want to ensure that there shall not be any shortage for farmers who will want fertilizer. They have performed extraordinarily well during the lockdown. We can't afford to let them down now, so we want to ensure that fertilizers more than adequately will be available for them.
Number 10. I think, okay, bhai, this is already answered.
He answered it already.
Ma'am, this is Aishwarya Paliwal from India Today. Ma'am, you have already, you're saying you want to focus on the stimulus package today, but what's your assessment of what will happen in future? Because we are seeing COVID numbers rise. So do you have an assessment of how it might impact the economy?
Well, I'm not sure if these rise are all across the board. Yes, in some parts it's increasing and it's causing concern, but it's not across the board, and that is why the first point that we mentioned about how COVID is receding, at least in the figures that we've shown, and the mortality rate has also come down. So that is something which we have to take on board.
44.
Ma'am, on your fifth announcement, which is related to infra and the construction, which has been extended to ongoing infra contract, which are free from dispute, you said. Ma'am, with this regard, there has been issues from the investor, particularly foreign investors, with respect to enforceability of contract and the speedy dispute resolution. Do we see any particular, mediator or fast-track court settlement to deal with the infra-related contract, ma'am?
You want to say anything on it? Yeah.
It's essentially, A, it is not part of this package. B, it's more a matter within the purview of the judiciary than of the executive. So I don't think there's anything useful that I can tell you today.
For the settlement of these contracts, in fact, if you see that during the last 1 year, the number of special courts, Ministry of Law has been working with the respective high courts, and then they are setting up special courts only to handle this, the commercial disputes.
You have something?
Yeah, just to tell you to add to what Finance Secretary said, they are working, and in fact, if we look at the outcomes, the number of days that it is taking in the Bombay High Court has reduced considerably. And now we are also working with the Delhi High Court, where it has also come down, but we are working towards bringing it down further. So a lot of action has taken place on that front. A lot of courts have been notified as exclusive courts for settling these matters.
या मैम मैं मनीष कुमार हूँ न्यूज़ 24 न्यूज़ चैनल से इस तरफ मैम अभी हाल में हमने देखा कि बिहार विधानसभा चुनाव के दौरान सरकारी नौकरियों को लेकर काफ़ी बात की गई। आप जितनी भी घोषणाएं कर रहे हैं इसके ज़रिए अलग अलग सेक्टर में रोज़गार का सृजन होगा, लेकिन क्या सरकार इस बात पर मंथन कर रही है कि सरकारी नौकरियां जो अलग अलग पद विभागों में जो पद रिक्त हैं उसको भी भर्ती किया जाए जिससे कि रोज़गार का सृजन हो? क्या इस पर सरकार गौर कर रही है क्या?
Point taken.
82.
Hi, ma'am. Ramya from the print. I just wanted to. Ma'am, I just wanted to check with you that yesterday the RBI also talked about the unrelenting pressure of inflation and said that it's a major downside risk to growth. So, is there any more inflation management measures that we can expect from the government? Also, the PLI scheme allocation of 1.45 lakh crore, it will be spread over the next 5 years. In
I
terms
think
of
yesterday it is already explained. All details are given in the public domain. Last question, 11.
Just on the point of inflation, strictly the perishable goods are the ones which went up. And on the perishable goods, it's more because of some districts which got flooded. There are just not short-term but medium-term steps which are being taken by this government for better preservation of perishable goods, long shelf life, and so on, and providing a lot more weatherproof storage, particularly for crops like onion and potatoes. So I think that every season, we do face this in India till such a time, I suppose, we come up with a complete, elaborate system of storage for these crops. The government is working both on short-term and also the medium-term steps on it. Import where necessary for the short duration, and for the medium term, enough investment is being attracted with great incentives being provided for agri-infrastructure, if you may recall, particularly during the Atmanirbhar that we've announced for creating of agri-infrastructure. With that, I suppose we'll be able to address that question.
Last question, 11.
Ma'am, this is Krishnanan Tripathi from ETV Bharat. Though the active cases have come down and fatality rate has also come down, but some European countries are witnessing a second COVID wave. And Prime Minister himself said that jab tak dawai nahi, tab tak dhilai nahi. But in this round, you have not announced any specific measure for vast majority of countries poor. Like
I think,
cash,
please
like
focus.
cash
This is a health-related issue. Health Ministry is having a weekly.
Will there be a separate announcement?
Focus
Because
on
they
today's
need some
announcements.
support to tide over the harsh winter.
No, on the COVID, a health ministry is giving you periodically a brief.
Food, fuel and cash component that you announced as, in March, will it be extended so that they can tide over the harsh winters?
Well,
If there
I've
is second
given you
COVID wave.
data till now. PM has announced the extension of the food security measures till November. So if there's anything, we'll come back to you.
Thank
I
you
just
very-
want to
yes,
take
ma'am.
one additional input which I'd given about establishments which employ 1,000 or below. And I said probably we'll be able to cover 95% of establishments in that. I've been just corrected by Tarun. It's not 95, it's 99.1% of all establishments will be covered by that.
It is there in the
table. Per month.
Already in the table, those details are there. Thank you very much, ma'am.
आप
Thank you, sir.
सबको दिवाली की बहुत बहुत अग्रिम बधाई,
Sir,
आपके पाठकों और दर्शकों को भी।
Thank you very much, sir.